I'm William Kumwembe and this is Business Time, a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines. And in the program today, expert tips Malawi on import cover stability and free for all gold rush in Machinga as government yet to legalize small-scale mining activities. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned if you could.
Tiguleza tu
Zinenenje nazo mnalimo muno
eya ndimadza kulya ruzina ndi zina amwali
kumande mwachopata shuga apo tikona nkaka umatu masambati ndi mulibe uno
alamwa kuti samwaliyo masamba
ndakhaso ngati amwali komanso to inu mubasiketi yonse yangodzadza ndi made in Malawi yokayoka tamakani moyo otsogola pogula zinthu zakunja
maganizo amene uri ndiobwezera chitukuko cha dziko lino mbuyo kugula zinthu zopangidwa kwathu konkuno kumathandiza kukweza ntchito za makampani a dziko muno zomwenso zimapereka mwayi wa ntchito kwa anthu ambiri ogwira ntchito akachuluka dziko lathunso limatolera misonkho yochuluka chumanso chimakwera mukagulatu katundu wakunja mumangolemeretsa mayiko akunjawo ife sitipindula kanthu
kani
ndikuwuzani
apo ndendamvetsatu tandikire pompa nene ndikagule zinthu zathu za chimalawi sindichedwa
tigule zathu tilikule dziko lathu
ndidikire sindichedwa
dziko lathu bai Malawi kondendi kunyadira za chimalawi tikamagula za.
Hello and welcome. In our main story in the program, an economic expert, Bechan Cherin, has tipped the government to maintain donor confidence and work towards improving international trade if it is to sustain import cover. Cherin, Dean of Commerce at the Polytechnic, was commenting on figures contained in the Reserve Bank of Malawi's May monthly economic review. The review shows that gross official reserves went up to $624.5 million from $579.4 million in April. Our journalist Chimwemwe Mangazi caught up with Cheleni in this interview.
Import cover is how much foreign reserves a country is having that should be able for the country to be able to buy goods and commodities from another country, right, or elsewhere. So you're looking at the ability, the possibility that people can say, okay, I want to buy a car from somewhere, I want to buy maybe medicines from somewhere. Are we going to be able to cover for those payments? That's why it is called import cover. You are looking at, you have the money, foreign currency, US dollars, pounds, rands, that can cover the payment, the obligations this country is supposed to meet elsewhere. So it can be the private sector, it can be the government even, but those payments must be made. What it means is that we have had slightly a higher level of foreign currency, that's in US dollars. We increased from about 500 to somewhere around 600, an increase of about 100 million US dollars. What it means is that by the time we got to May, we'll be able to buy goods and services from elsewhere for the next 3 months. That's June, July, August. We can cover for the demand that we have, because what is happening is that we do know exactly how much we need for every month. It's somewhere around 200 million US dollars. That's how much we need to buy medicines, the motor vehicles that we are buying, everything else. We need about 200 million US dollars per month for 30 days. So if we have somewhere around 600, what it means is that we can cover for about 3 months. We'll be able to buy from elsewhere without being under panic. But another important thing, and this is very important, is that when we have a higher import cover, say 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, it is also an indicator of the stability of our own currency. Is it stable? And also the strength of our own currency. If we have lesser import cover, it means that people are going to be scrambling for the little resources that are going to be there. And as people are scrambling, you find that the exchange rate is going to be going up. That means that for a country such as Malawi, we are mostly an importing nation. So what it means is that we import most of the goods and services that we need. Maybe it's raw materials, clothing, and many of the things that we do. So we worry so much when the import cover is smaller. We worry. Why? Because we know automatically that this is going to be inflationary. When the import cover is higher, then it is not going to be inflationary. We can then claim that the macroeconomic environment is going to be stable. Because remember, for the macroeconomic environment, you're looking at inflation, you're looking at exchange rate, you're looking at interest rates. When these are stable and lower, they don't necessarily have to be very low, but they at least must be stable. Then you are happy as a country. So the exchange rate can actually be the genesis of this macroeconomic instability. So that's why you need to make sure that the import cover is higher. But I need also to state this, that this is actually for a country which is a developmental state. That's the economic, of course, philosophy which this country is trying to go to. We are a developmental state, meaning that we are not yet at a point where we are predominantly exporting and, of course, predominantly producing. We are predominantly importing and consuming country. That's why we worry so much that whatever we do in here, we want to raise enough resources so that we can be able to buy from elsewhere. But we should remember that as we are doing that as a country, we are actually developing another country. Another economy is developing. Our own economy is only being used to generate for yet another economy. It can be China, it can be USA, it can be South Africa, Tanzania, wherever we buy things from. It is those economies which are developing. So yes, we should be celebrating that an import cover is better, is improving for now. But in the long term, what we really need to be to start thinking about is self-sufficiency. We need to be producing most of the goods and the services from right in this country. Then we shall come to a point where we don't worry about an import cover at all, because we don't need to have an import cover. All we will say is, no, we do have clothes, we do have vehicles being manufactured in Malawi. I know I'm being very optimistic there, but everything else that we can produce from within the country, then we are good in that manner. We're not going to be scrambling for foreign reserves.
Now, mining sector has for some time now been looked at as the next big thing for the economy after agriculture. However, share of the sector to the national economy has been dwindling in the past few years. Among obvious reasons is the lack of structured legal framework, as most of the laws are archaic. Now, Minister responsible Rashid Gafar says the government has been working with other stakeholders in creating a conducive environment for small-scale mining activities in the country. What should Malawians expect? This comes out as gold rush ensued in Machinga district, where scores of locals are busy digging for the precious metal in the and along the Birira River. How would this puzzle be solved once and for all? We have the whole story in this report.
A visit to Bushiri village in Machinga district revealed that many villagers, including women, were busy excavating and panning for the alluvial gold. The visit revealed that a gram of gold was being bought at an average price of 25,000 kwacha. District Commissioner for Machinga Rosemary Nawasha and Paramount Chief Kawinga confirmed that about 800 families in the area are taking part in the mining. Kawinga said since the gold favor started, many people from his area are benefiting from the activity.
I'm happy that the minister was here. Of course, the locals are doing the mining of gold. Illegal, I can say, because it's not a formal process. But with the assurance of the minister, I know now there will be formal ways of mining. So I can see that this area or district as such, it means poverty levels now are going to be reduced. So I'm happy that this now is known to government and something is going to be done. Our people are going to be mining gold formally, which will bring more revenue to them as well as the council.
Nawasha added that the Kauniuni mapping exercise that government conducted across the country did not show the presence of gold in Machinga.
Usually in our council, we have an officer from each and every department. These are technical officers who can advise properly the council on how to do with their policies in their ministry. But the Ministry of Mining, we don't have an officer. They are not yet decentralized. it means they have not yet put an officer of mining here in Machinga. So we want a technical person, an officer from the Ministry of Mining, to come here who can be advising us proper ways of doing this work. They will be coming to these people and tell them how best to do it.
Speaking after touring the mining site, Minister of Mining Rashid Gafar said government will work with the people of the area to make the mining process legal. Gafar said it is the wish of the government to ensure that the mining activities benefit Malawians.
Whatever is happening in Atinche, what's happening in Makanjira, what is happening here is all the same. They are local people panning for gold, using very old methods. These are, as I said, local people, Malawians. It was rumored that when people come and try and find out what's happening, the same local people would say that it's not us, it's foreigners. But there is no way that a foreigner can come here and dig all those holes we're seeing without some repercussion from the local people. So it shows, and they're clearly, because we say that we don't just them anymore, we want to help them, we're seeing that they've come forward in all those 3 areas to say that it's us that are doing this, but because we want to sort out our lives. We have seen that these Malawians are gaining out of this illegal, this mining. You can actually see that they're telling us that they're able to send their children to school, they're able to have roofed houses, they're able to now have a few livestock coming from this. So as government, and I'd like to thank this new government, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera and Dr. Salos Pastulima, for setting up this ministry, a standalone ministry of mining, to see how best we can sort out this problem. And I want to assure you, this ministry will do it. The DC mentioned one very important fact. We don't have representation in the districts as a mining ministry. We have to do that, especially in the hotspots where people are discovering gold, rich minerals, oils, gases. We have to be represented in those areas, include the DC's office, to make sure that we are able to help people to safe mining, profitable mining, because there is some lack of expertise given to the local people. So we, as a ministry, are going to try and do it. Through this coming budget, we are planning, talking to our Vice President, who is Minister of Economy, planning to see how best we can help local people.
One of the gold miners, Prosper Kasinga, asked the government to help them with proper equipment for excavating the gold.
Meanwhile, the government has said it will commit necessary resources towards implementation of the National Transport Master Plan. This is according to Minister of Transport, Sidik Mia. Chumwemwe Mangazi reports.
Minister of Transport Sidik Mia said the ministry will explore fuel levies and other road taxes to boost funding for the National Transport Master Plan. This came out on the sidelines of his recent tour of a section of the Limbi-Maraka railway line under rehabilitation.
We are taking measures to see to it that funding should be equivalent to what we are doing. We have a master plan in the Ministry of Transport, and we would like to follow it. There are quite a lot of revenues. You're aware that the roads fund through the fuel levies are for the infrastructure of transport in the country. So we'll make sure that what we produce must go to the sector so that we meet up the demands of the people out there. Malawi should move with what is happening out there. Transport systems must move with the current situations. We do not want to see congestion in our roads. We do not want to see exorbitant prices of transportation in the country. To mitigate that, we must go according to the master plan. We'll make sure I will take full responsibility, and my president is fully committed to see that the transport sector develops accordingly with the status quo with our economy in the country.
This comes as one of the country's development partners, the Japanese International Cooperation Agency JICA, recently indicated that the plan was underfunded. In its transport sector position paper published in May, JICA highlights that on average, the government allocates 30 billion kwacha to the sector annually, most of which goes to the road section. The agency suggests that Malawi needs to be contributing 100 billion kwacha annually to the transport sector. In March 2018, the country launched the Transport Master Plan, which seeks to reduce transport costs and improve safety across all modes of transport.
Remember, this is Business Time, a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. We'll be right back.
Excuse me, madam. Stop billing. I'm taking back all these goods to the shelves.
What's wrong, sir?
Never mind. I have just changed my mind.
Excuse me. I just noticed you returned all the goods you meant to buy. What went wrong?
Some of these products are not originally made here in Malawi.
But these goods have a logo to authenticate them. And we manufacture them ourselves.
Then it means you're not registered with Buy Malawi strategy. This logo here with a tick is not correct.
How?
All products and services registered with Buy Malawi strategy have an original logo approved by government through the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Tourism that really authenticates your product as a Malawian product. Now, once you register, your product and service will be recognized as Malawian. Look, we must buy Malawi to build Malawi. You can find out more from Buy Malawi Secretariat or call them on 01 770 244 0993 707 729 or 0999 528 510. You can also simply email info@buymalawi.mw.
Buy Malawi, tukondendi kunyadira za chimalawi. Tikamagula.
The COVID-19 pandemic has forced listed companies on the Malawi Stock Exchange to be holding virtual annual general meetings, especially after the government imposed restrictions on physical gatherings. But how are shareholders taking the step? We engaged General Secretary of the Minority Shareholders Association of Listed Companies, Frank Harawa.
As a minority shareholder, we are happy that we are still participating on the Malawi Stock Exchange. We continue making money on the Malawi Stock Exchange, but there are some difficulties, challenges sometimes that we meet, which we feel the regulator needs to come in seriously and address them. I could give an example of the dematerialization process. I think could be one of those, and sometimes it's an issue of the way issues are handled concerning maybe the way minority shareholders are treated as compared to listed companies. So these are, I think, main issues that need to be addressed. And I think one of maybe the third one could be the issue of letting the Malawi Stock Exchange be an independent stock exchange, not to continue to be in the hands of government or the Reserve Bank of Malawi. Let the Reserve Bank of Malawi be a regulator and government. I think we need all of us to find out from the Reserve Bank of Malawi how many people have dematerialized. You see, the process started 2 years ago. It was in 2018. And we know that there was no proper awareness. People did not know what was happening. And there were a lot of problems during that time, which continue until today. And it is very sad that until today, we believe many people do not know that they need to dematerialize their certificates. And it's really a concern when you see somebody coming from Msanje, coming to Blantyre, maybe to sell his shares, only to be told that you have to dematerialize, you have to wait for several days before we can even sell your shares. So I think it's a serious matter. The Reserve Bank of Malawi has to come out. I understand now there's a new person who is the chairman, with the lead person in the capital markets. I think they need to come out quickly and tell the public how many people have dematerialized, percentage-wise, so that people may know in all the companies, say TNM, how many people have dematerialized, so many have dematerialized, because we are very sure that not many people have dematerialized, and it's bad for the market. You see, about the virtual AGM, it's sad. It's sad the way the companies they've handled this. We don't even know whether they are doing the AGMs or not. To us as minority shareholders, we want to tell you this, that we believe there has been no AGM this year. Because the first question we'll be asking ourselves is it in the Companies Act that we should be doing virtual AGMs? And what is the procedure in the Companies Act? Is it in the articles of these companies? And what is the procedure of doing it in the companies of the articles of these companies? I'll give an example in South Africa. When they knew about the issue of COVID-19, the government had to come in and registrate the issue of virtual AGMs. But what is happening in Malawi? There's no registration. The company is just doing it their way. And today, we were attending the FDH listing. Strange. Everybody was there. All the CEOs, CEO of the Malawi Stock Exchange. They were all here. And there were more than 50 people, 60 people in the listing process. And then they say, the same Malawi Stock Exchange is saying, you can do this one, but you can't do no more AGM, that you do the virtual way. We believe it is just a way. It looks like it's just a way of avoiding the minorities, unless they give a good reason. We saw another virtual AGM of Standard Bank. It was in the newspapers, national newspapers, when the directors were sitting bumper to bumper, and they had even no masks. And they called that a virtual AGM. Are they not happy with us? Are we the one carrying the COVID-19, so they cannot mix with us? We had the meeting today with FDH, and there was no problem. So we are saying, we're not happy. And we strongly believe that unless the companies will prove that it's legal to hold a virtual AGM, and how it's funded, it's in the Companies Act, and it's in the articles of these companies, there was no AGM this year. And therefore, they have to tell us how they are paying these dividends, because you cannot pay a final dividend without without the approval of the AGM. It's a serious matter to us.
Well, with that story, we've also come to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, then it doesn't make sense. Stay safe and bye for now.